So when I talk about capacity, we're going to talk about the overflowing cup. And the overflowing cup analogy is it's all in the name of capacity here. All right. So I'm going to, well, I can see my individual picture, so hopefully everybody else can too. So we're going to talk a little bit about this overflowing cup analogy. When we talk about capacity, all it is how much can your body handle? How much stress, how much movement, how much endurance-wise, how much repetitive nature can it handle? How much of getting into a position and coming out of that position can it handle? How much of being in one position can it handle? These are all things that are capacity. So this is the overflowing cup analogy. And if you get nothing else from tonight, maybe you get to see me get a little wet here, all right? So I have a small coffee cup, and I have this bottle of water, and I am going to drink this. I promise I'm not wasting this. I'll take a sip right now. Come on now. But let's say, this is an analogy, so bear with me. Let's say this cup is your back, is your spine, right? It's your body's, it's your trunk. Every time we move, every time we get into a position, anytime we bend over, anytime we stay in one position for a long period of time, anytime we swing a golf club, we're adding water to the cup, right? We're adding stress and stimulus to this cup. And anytime I bend over to pick up my grandkid, every time I sleep in a weird position, non-physical things, stress, anxiety, poor nutrition, poor sleep, all these add to the cup, all right? We get to the point, now I don't know if you can see this, but we get to the point where all of a sudden, overflowing. And I'm going to have to clean that up later, all right? That's the pain. That is the point of pain. So the cup overflowed because I didn't have enough cup, I didn't have enough capacity to handle everything that I'm asking it to do, right? Now what if I take and I make that cup bigger? Hopefully you can see that, right? I hope I don't spill on my computer here, I promise. So I take this cup and now I fill it into a bigger cup, and now it's only half full, right? This bigger cup is what we do for people every day in and day out. This is where people were when they started having problems, and this is where people are going with us. They're building a bigger cup, meaning now I can take the same water bottle, the same stresses, the same positions, the same activities. I can add more, and I can add more, and I can add more, and I can do more, and I can stress my body, and I can do all the things I love. And that cup's not going to overflow, okay? So we're building a bigger cup. We're building a bigger capacity for people. When you have back pain, 90% of the time, when we have these issues, 90% of the time, our cup is too small, and the stresses that we put into that cup, the water that we add into that cup is far too great. It overflows, and that's when our body starts talking back with pain. Now, chronic pain, right? This is why I love this analogy, because it helps make so much sense even in my own head. Chronic pain, guess what happens? Over time, 3 months or more of back pain. Over time, your cup gets smaller, right? Your body goes into hiding mode or dysfunction, and the cup gets smaller. And a lot of times the stresses continue. So the cup gets smaller, but the water that you're pouring in stays the same. And chronic pain, how do you reverse out of that? How do you get out of that? It's tough. It's really, really tough for a lot of people. The stresses don't change. Their pain doesn't really change. If anything, it gets worse because their cup keeps getting smaller and smaller. So we got to hit the reset button. We got to give them a new cup. And then, after giving them a new cup, we got to make it as big as we possibly can. And that takes a lot of work and time. Some people, they're fortunate. Their issues are not as big, and they take action on it sooner. And maybe their cup isn't, as overflowing, and it doesn't take as much. But chronic situations, you've been dealing with it for a while, just keep in mind, keep the hope, keep the faith, but it takes a while to make that cup bigger. And hopefully we even reduce some of the stressors, some of the water that we're putting in there. Maybe we start sleeping better. Maybe we start eating better. Maybe we start moving more, all those things. So I spent a lot of time on that analogy because we're building a bigger cup through tissue health, through appropriate mobility, strengthening through ranges of motion. It's the only way that we can really start building that bigger cup so that we're not getting overflow from activity or life challenges. All right. Everything in life I've realized is stimulus and response, stress and response, stimulus response, right? We get a challenge from the environment. How does our body respond to it? When the challenges from the environment overrun the way that we can respond to it, that's where we have pain and that's where we have issues. All right.